This is the story of a talented girl.
Well, Michelle was born with a gift.
Whose family have high hopes for her.
Michelle Lee Chapman.
It was very exciting. Very proud moments. Very proud.
But those dreams are dashed.
I knew that I wasn't going to be able to see her for a long time.
By a terrible crime.
It's something that you will never forget, and you'll never be okay with it.
I went, holy cow, here it comes.
Thank you for coming tonight. Welcome to our first concert of the year.
It's January of 1994, and the parents and friends of the elementary school band here in Humble, Texas, are ready for a show.
This is our 6th grade beginner band. All of these students did not start on the instrument until September of this year.
Behind this home video camera is proud dad Walter Chafin and his wife Donna. Donna soon picks out her 12-year-old daughter, Michelle. Michelle is quite the musician and has spent months practicing for this concert.
Whenever Michelle and her band would have a concert, I always anticipated it as much as probably she did. I was always very excited to hear them. It was very exciting, very proud moments, very proud.
Michelle has always been one to enjoy attention. Here she is, age 13.
I got all that I wanted for Christmas. Like jam box, a Bible, and David got me a teddy bear. See the lamb? Hi, David, what's up?
When she realized that someone was laughing at her, because laughter is contagious, then she would do something else to make the people laugh more.
I did that for you. Yo, what's up?
Michelle's younger brother, 12-year-old David, is her polar opposite.
He was quieter than Michelle. Of course, everybody was quieter than Michelle. David is the type of personality that will sit back and wait a little while and observe people, whereas Michelle is quite the opposite of that.
We could fight like cats and dogs 1 minute and, be 100% on each other's team 5 minutes later. She was a comedian to us, I guess, to family members more than anything. The pot shots that she would take at us, you have to be able to laugh at yourself.
There's Michelle, she can smile.
Michelle used to pick on David and tell him he was an accident, just to just to give him grief.
The Chafins enjoy a typical middle-class life. This 1994 Christmas video shows everyone in the aftermath of the grand present opening.
In our household, Christmas was fun. And anytime I could, I took a lot of pictures and videos.
David's inspecting his new camera. And that's Dad Walter with his gift, a keyboard case. By the time Michelle is in high school, the Chafins have moved to Grapeland, Texas, to be nearer to Walter's parents. Michelle has stuck with her music practice. That's her, age 15, during a special Dixieland halftime performance, walking to the front with her soprano sax.
Michelle Chapman, soprano saxophone.
As a musician, Michelle was phenomenal. Michelle played piano, Michelle played saxophone, Michelle sang.
Well, Michelle was, born with a gift. I think she came out singing when she was born.
When she performed, as far as I could see, especially when she sang, that seemed to be her greatest love.
It's during her junior year in high school that 17-year-old Michelle starts to date 19-year-old football player Chase Warner.
Chase went to school junior high and high school years with Michelle. Chase and Michelle were a cute couple. The relationship between Michelle and Chase, I felt, would last a lifetime. I really did.
It's May 29th, 1998, and Michelle is ready to step on stage for a different reason.
Michelle Lee Chapman.
It's graduation day.
The proudest moment of all probably was when Michelle walked to take her diploma, then walked across the stage as a graduated individual.
This year's $500 band booster scholarship to Michelle Lee Chapman.
Thanks to her dedication to music and the Grapeland High Marching Band, Michelle receives a special $500 scholarship. And she's got big plans for the money.
After high school, Michelle wanted to be a lawyer. Michelle would stand up for what she thought was right. She would stand up for the underdog.
She had the passion, for the law. And aside from that, being as stubborn and hard-headed as anybody I've ever met in my life.
Michelle attends Stephen F. Austin University to study criminal justice. They're no longer in high school, but the love between Michelle and Chase holds strong. Meanwhile, things aren't going so well back in Grapeland. Donna and Walter's marriage is crumbling.
It was probably not the best example of a marriage and of a relationship between a mother and father with two children growing up in the household. David and Michelle's father and I ultimately decided to get a divorce.
But some surprise news is about to bring the family together. Michelle announces that she and Chase are expecting. They'll move in together before the new arrival, but she still plans to continue her studies. The Chaffins rally around Michelle. In this never-before-seen footage, they are throwing her a baby shower.
I guess I was just worried that when she got pregnant and they decided to move to the city, that it was going to be too much too soon for them to handle. But once they moved into their apartment and Chase found a new job, everything kind of settled in.
On March 29th, 2001, 19-year-old Michelle gives birth to a little girl who she and Chase name Haley.
I'm smiling because I can't help it. So the day that Haley was born, I remember standing at the glass looking at Haley and I cried, but it wasn't sad cry, it was happy cry. We were just all so happy tears.
I was honestly very surprised at the mother that she became almost instantly. Not concerned with her ability to be a good parent, but I felt like it was a little premature with Michelle being so young at the time she had Haley.
Shortly after Haley's arrival, Michelle and Chase tie the knot.
They were just moving forward in the right direction, and I was happy for that.
It's a small and simple ceremony, but Michelle Lee Warner has never seemed happier.
I guess I'd never seen Michelle look so beautiful and happy. And I really figured that that was going to be it, for the both of them.
Express yourself.
Find things you need.
Express yourself.
And love.
Express yourself.
And use every day.
Whatever you do,
that's what you find. On Etsy.
Do it good.
Shop Etsy for everyday finds.
My name is Jerry. I've been Pacheco member for about 15 years. They give me the best advice without looking for personal gain.
My name is Angela. I'm currently refinancing my car with Patelka. I'm also using their checking and savings.
My name is Aki. If I think about it, over the course of 22 years, I've probably saved thousands of dollars in fees.
My name is Elmer. Patelco is part of my financial strategy. It's just easy.
The Real. Authenticated luxury consignment at up to 90% off retail. From Gucci, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Rolex, Cartier, and hundreds more, all authenticated by our experts. Shop luxury the sustainable way, only at The Real. And download our app. Shop now and get 20% off select items with the code REAL.
When talented musician Michelle Chafin met football player Chase Warner, the two were sure it was true love.
Look, Haley, what else Santa brought you? Formula! Yay!
Now that they're married with a baby, things seem perfect.
From my early memories of my mom and dad together, I remember living in an apartment. I remember my mom and my dad happy, and one specific memory I have is him carrying her into the bedroom, and they were laughing, and it was very playful.
But the pressures of a new baby start to put a strain on the young couple.
We spoke on the phone regularly, so when things started coming undone, obviously I was going to be one of the first people that she talked to about it.
Michelle finds herself bored by Chase and their settled lifestyle.
Michelle was still going to school, but Michelle was also working as a paralegal. I think that Michelle's sights started to turn to what she deemed to be bigger and better things.
He was too simple-minded to use her words. But it's like I told her at that point, I said, Michelle, you're not going to find a better man.
The arguments escalate, and Michelle and Chase eventually decide to separate. They agree to an amicable divorce. Michelle moves back to Grapeland to live with her brother. Chase will keep custody of little Haley in Baytown until Michelle gets herself figured out.
However, after the divorce, she lost her health insurance.
Losing her health insurance is a daunting prospect for Michelle. She's relied on anxiety medication for some time to deal with the struggles of college life and motherhood.
Chase was able to remove her from his policy, and she couldn't afford to buy her medication.
The idea of being without her family and her medication is too much for Michelle to handle.
Once the divorce between Michelle and Chase started to unfold, and then after the divorce was finalized, Michelle started going down a rough path.
When Michelle can't afford to buy anxiety medication, she turns to alternatives, like painkillers.
Painkillers are different than normal drugs. It's not like it's cocaine or heroin or something else where you're completely out of your sorts while you're on the drug. She could take those and nobody's any the wiser.
She starts to spiral, looking for more ways to numb her pain and ease her addictive impulses.
From that point, Michelle started to move from smaller type drugs to basically street drugs, and even started shooting up from time to time. There were times that I would leave after having visited with her, and I literally would cry because I was so worried about her.
In January 2006, Michelle is stopped for speeding.
The officer must have noticed that not all of her senses were correct, and at that point the officer searched the vehicle.
And police arrest her for possession of cocaine. She is sentenced to 8 months in prison. Chase will have full custody of Haley in her absence.
I didn't understand what was fully going on, but I knew that I wasn't going to be able to see her for a long time. So I do have memories of us crying and me hugging her and telling her bye. You know, I was young, but I remember seeing the heartbreak on my mom's face, having to say bye to me, and I just know that she felt incredibly guilty that she had done that to me.
So it was just very heartbreaking, and I don't even really have the words to describe how heartbreaking.
When she completes her prison sentence, Michelle enters into a rehab program.
Because Michelle was arrested on drug charges, she was required to take part in this program.
It takes a year of hard work, but fueled by her love for Haley, Michelle finally beats her addiction in January 2008.
This program truly did rehabilitate her from her drug abuse. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to her because it did clean her up.
By 2008, the now 26-year-old Michelle has moved to Houston, looking for a fresh start. With her family around her, Michelle is back on track. In early 2008, she lands a secretarial job at a medical equipment group in Clear Lake.
Michelle seemed to be doing really well job-wise. Michelle seemed to be doing really well in her personal life as far as keeping her life drug-free and spending it the way that she should, which was with her family.
Before long, she is hosting her daughter for weekend visits.
It was amazing when I finally did get to start spending time with her, and that's when we really started getting close.
In 2008, Michelle makes a new friend at work.
What I do remember is Michelle talking about this guy that worked IT and mark this, mark that.
Mark Castellano is the company's freelance IT consultant.
As time went on, Michelle talked about Mark more and more, and I realized that at that point that there was probably a little more there to the relationship.
Soon, Michelle is introducing Mark to her family.
The very first thing that hit me about Mark was that his physical features was not what I was expecting for someone that Michelle would have been so interested in.
He just was awkward. He was very awkward, very nerdy. He tried to fit in, but he was just kind of a misfit in a way.
Michelle seems happy, and that's all her family could hope for.
I also do honestly remember telling myself, if she feels comfortable with this man, Mark, then that's what she should do.
Buy a select 2020 Volkswagen today. And for the next 6 years, the time it takes a child to learn to walk, read, and start school, you won't have paid a single cent in interest. 6 years of interest-free payments. Click, call, or come by your Volkswagen dealer today and get 0% APR financing for 72 months on select 2019 and 2020 models.
Heroes aren't born. Heroes are just those who step up when it's needed most. Train to be a healthcare hero at Carrington College. The U.S. is facing a shortage of qualified healthcare professionals, so join the fight and train hands-on for an essential career. You can learn from experienced instructors who have worked in the field. Classes are enrolling now. Online program options also are available. Be a healthcare hero. You're made for this. Visit carrington.edu to learn more.
My name is Jerry. I've been a Pateco member for about 15 years. They give me the best advice without looking for personal gain.
My name is Angela. I'm currently refinancing my car with Pateco. I'm also using their checking and savings.
My name is Aki. If I think about it, over the course of 22 years, I've probably saved thousands of dollars in fees.
My name is Elmer. Pateco is part of my financial strategy. It's just easy.
Right now, switch to T-Mobile and get 4 lines of unlimited for just $25 a line, with access to America's largest 5G included. That's right, unlimited and nationwide 5G for the whole family for just $25 a line. Only at T-Mobile.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only
I'm not just any gorilla. You'll see.
I'm stepping out.
We're in this together, kid.
We're family. Strong.
Ivan, what are you doing?
I'm gonna fix the show.
It's the wild. It's how Ivan wants things to be.
Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith.
Disney's The One and Only Ivan. Rated PG. Streaming soon. Exclusively on Disney+.
Do you push through 4 or more migraine days a month?
Mom, are you okay to play?
Absolutely. Let's see what's inside. Imagine what you can do with more migraine-free days. When you're able to help prevent migraine days with Emgality, imagine the possibilities. Once monthly Emgality was specifically developed to help prevent migraine days from starting in the first place. It is designed to work for 30 days and nights. Emgality cut the number of monthly migraine days by 50% or more for some people. Don't use if allergic to Emgality. Allergic reactions such as itching, rash, hives, and trouble breathing can occur even days after using. Common side effects include injection site reactions. Ask your doctor about Emgality. You can access doctors from home with telemedicine.
When IT consultant Mark Castellano lands the confident and talented Michelle Warner as his girlfriend, he can't believe his luck.
Mark had told me about Michelle several times. I saw her picture. She was very attractive. And I was in my mind thinking like, okay, you know, this is his girlfriend and like she didn't really exist.
The couple are on cloud 9. But before things can get serious, Michelle needs the approval of her 7-year-old daughter, Haley.
I just remember meeting him and that he was someone significant, and I could tell that she was anticipating me meeting him, so that it was something that she had been really looking forward to.
Mark makes a real effort to win Haley over.
He was nice, and Mark was actually really good with me. And I enjoyed spending time with him.
With Haley's blessing, Michelle and Mark move in together. With Michelle, it's almost like history repeating. In 2009, not long after moving in with Mark, she learns she's pregnant.
She got her mindset on beginning again, you know, getting herself on a career path again. So I guess after finding out that she was pregnant with Caden, in a way I was kind of happy about it.
That October, little Caden arrives.
The day that Caden was born was the happiest day of my life, by far.
The family is thrilled.
I remember Mark saying, you know, I know Michelle is beautiful, But I never expected this baby to be so beautiful. This is just a beautiful child.
But as time goes by, fatherhood weighs heavily on Mark. He knows Michelle loves being a mom again, but fatherhood terrifies him.
What I started to see was that Mark started to distance himself from the baby and from Michelle.
Mark begins to leave more and more of the responsibilities to Michelle.
He was lazy, didn't help out with her. She felt like she was, carrying most of the burden.
In early 2010, just 3 months after Caden is born, Mark announces that it's all just too much. He quits his job and leaves Michelle and the kids behind.
He decided to bail out and go back to his parents.
Mark moves 500 miles away to his parents' house in Odessa. Michelle and her family are furious at Mark's selfishness.
How can you say to yourself that I'm more important than this child who's helpless? How can you do that? And it really pissed me off.
Michelle does her best to raise the 2 kids without Mark.
I think she did as good as she could on what she could afford, doing things with Caden and doing things for him.
Get the kitty.
Michelle is sure to preserve precious memories on video, just like her mother Donna did with her. It isn't until 2.5 years later, in 2012, that Mark resurfaces.
When Mark came back into the picture, he moved back from Odessa to the Houston area.
He tells Michelle that he's back in town and has taken a new job as a technician for a computer repair shop. And he's got a new perspective on things.
He wanted to be a father to Caden, and he wanted to stand up to the responsibility, which all sounded really good.
Mark starts helping out with childcare, taking care of Caden when Michelle has other plans.
It seemed like it was working out pretty well, as far as any of us could tell.
As for Michelle, Mark's return is a relief. It allows her to reclaim some free time and see more of her friends. Here, in a video shot by her now 10-year-old daughter Haley, Michelle sings for her friend's first dance.
Watching my mom perform was amazing. When I filmed her performing at the wedding, I remember just being so proud to be her daughter, that she was my mom and everyone was watching her, and obviously everyone loved to hear her sing.
There may not be wedding bells on the horizon, but another dream of Michelle's is about to come true. In summer 2011, she lands a new job as a paralegal at an upscale law firm in downtown Houston.
She was finally getting to do what she was driven to do the entire time, and it just so happened to be on the same side of town that Mark was living on.
Now, Michelle just needs to find a place closer to her new office for her and now 3-year-old Caden. She reaches out to Mark. He's staying in a nice condo complex just 10 minutes from her new office. The two decide to move in together as roommates.
The only reason that Michelle moved back in with Mark was for the very specific reason that he had a 2-bedroom apartment. He agreed to help with watching the child. Other than that, they would keep their lives separate.
Once Michelle's paycheck kicks in, she hopes to find her own place nearby.
I eventually decided that this idea of Mark living in the same household with Michelle and helping raise Caden was a very good idea.
In September of 2012, when she visits her brother David to celebrate the birth of his baby, Michelle's luck seems to be changing.
I'm so glad that she managed to make it for the birth of my daughter. She was so excited about me having a girl.
The family hopes that Michelle's troubles are over. But on Sunday, September 23, 2012, Michelle's brother David gets an alarming call from Michelle's ex-husband, Chase Warner.
He told me that I might want to try and call Michelle because she was supposed to have come to his house and picked up Haley, and she had yet to show up. For her to not show up to pick up Haley, that's kind of a big deal.
The family is frantic.
Chase said, I think something has happened with your sister. Either she's back on a drug binge or something bad has happened to Michelle. Chase basically said, I don't have a good feeling about this.
Express yourself.
Find things you need.
Express yourself.
And love.
Express yourself.
And use every day.
Whatever you do.
That's what you find. On Etsy.
Do it good.
Shop Etsy for everyday finds.
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning. Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
T-Mobile and Sprint have merged, and T-Mobile doesn't just have a bigger network, but a better one than ever before, with scam protection built into its core. Introducing Scam Shield, free from T-Mobile. Get fewer scam calls, period. With T-Mobile's supercharged network, you can say goodbye to annoying scam calls and feel free to answer your phone again.
Hello?
When Michelle Warner stops answering her cell phone, it sets off alarm bells within her family.
When I first received a phone call from my son David letting me know that he believed that Michelle was missing, my first thought was maybe she got back on drugs.
With his sister not answering her cell phone, David Chafin calls Mark Castellano. And he's shocked to learn that Mark and little Caden are all the way over in Odessa at his parents' house.
Where did you decide that it was a rational decision to take Caden and go to Odessa without telling any of us that she is gone or missing and you don't know where she's at, and drive straight through the night to go to Odessa?
Well, I'm sorry I didn't call you. I'm sorry I didn't talk to y'all, but man, I don't. Hold on, Caden.
Mark tells David that he hasn't seen Michelle since last Saturday night. They got into an argument, and Michelle stormed off. When Mark realized she was missing, he decided to bring Caden to his parents so they could help with the childcare. What's more, Mark reveals that Michelle has been acting erratically.
I mean, I know it's your sister and everything, but man, she's hard to live with.
She's gone back to abusing prescription drugs. That's why he and Caden left. But for Michelle's family, something just doesn't sit right. They can't believe she would up and leave like this, especially with the new job she was so excited for. That Tuesday morning, Houston police file a missing persons report. Police call Mark, who insists that he has no idea where Michelle is.
I don't know where she's going to come back because she has a history of leaving and not coming back like till the next morning or till like the day after. She'll go to work and then come in. Like I said, she's a drug user. She admits she relapsed of shooting up a month and a half ago.
You know, I'm completely frazzled with all this. I figured she'd turn up by now.
He does, however, go into detail about what happened on that Saturday night.
He and Michelle had gotten in a fight over something Caden had done, their little 3-year-old son, and she got very angry with him, hit him in the face, and she went into the bedroom, slammed the door, and then he decided he was going to walk back in there and try to assuage things. He said, "You open the door," and she was gone.
Police are suspicious.
The odd thing about that was that she was gone, but she had left her car in the parking lot below the apartment. So this threw up some red flags, of course.
A quick check of her phone records shows that her last call was that same Saturday afternoon. There's no phone activity after that, at all.
With her not being there to pick up her child, you know, me calling countless times, you know, obviously one would begin to worry at that point.
Homicide detective Phil Waters now takes over from the Missing Persons Department.
In this particular case, the problem was there was no evidence. There was no crime scene. We have no body. We have no real suspect. So this is really a whodunit, or was there anything done?
Detective Waters and his partner head over to search the now vacant apartment that Mark and Michelle shared.
As we're looking through the apartment, we're looking for evidence. We're looking of some kind of a sign of a scene. We're not finding anything. There's no blood. There's no blood spatter. We're not finding any kind of a struggle.
But then, Detective Waters notices that across from the condo unit is a commercial building with exterior security cameras.
There was video cameras on the office building across the fence from the apartments, and they were directed right on to Mark and Michelle's apartment.
Police request the footage from the company.
We went to look at the video and see if we could see anything on it. As it turned out, their DVR was malfunctioning.
Detectives will have to wait to see what's on the cameras. After searching the apartment, detectives call Mark.
He's very congenial, he's very talkative, and he agrees to come to Houston and talk to me.
Mark was the last person to see Michelle. The detective hopes this interview will provide a lead. But what comes next is totally unexpected.
My name is Jerry. I've been a Pateco member for about 15 years. They give me the best advice without looking for personal gain.
My name is Angela. I'm currently refinancing my car with Pateco. I'm also using their checking and savings.
My name is Aki. If I think about it, over the course of 22 years, I've probably saved thousands of dollars in fees.
My name is Elmer. Pateco is part of my financial strategy. It's just easy.
New Jersey wants you to know that our foundation remains solid and strong, focused on supporting businesses large and small when they need it most. As one of the most diverse states in the U.S. with access to the best and brightest talent, New Jersey is perfectly positioned to connect to companies and each other now and tomorrow. And when you're ready, our beaches, parks, and restaurants will make you feel right at home. Thank you for choosing New Jersey, the state of innovation.
While police wait to interview Mark Castellano, they take a look at some CCTV they've recovered from a camera pointing toward Mark and Michelle's building.
We seized the DVR. We took that to the company that had supplied it. They downloaded everything off of it, and we were able to recover from that DVR video of that entire weekend period of activity.
The camera footage shows Mark's truck pulling up to his space at 6:48 p.m. on Saturday evening. He makes several trips back and forth to his car before he and Caden drive off at 9:28 p.m. So far, normal. But then, the video shows him returning at 1:27 a.m. Monday morning. And what the camera captures explains a lot.
Later that evening, we did see Mark with a container dragging it down the stairs. Mark's not a physical guy. It was apparent that he was struggling.
Whatever's in there is heavy. He heaves it down the steps and loads it into the back of his car.
Now we're looking at the video and it's all falling into place. You know, these investigations are big jigsaw puzzles. When we start to put these pieces together.
That Sunday morning, Mark flies into Houston as promised to talk with Detective Waters.
Again, I appreciate you coming in. And
yes, sir.
And because it's, you know, the whole point of all of this is to find Michelle.
Right. Yes, sir. Hopefully.
Okay.
Though they'd gone over his story on the phone, Detective Waters gently asked Mark to take him through the details of what happened that night.
When she gets mad, she's violent. I don't care what anybody says she is. If she'll hit you, she thinks she has the right to. The way she'll sit there and tell you the way she's raised, you know, man has to take up. She's a pretty girl and she gets everything she wants. She has a princess attitude.
Wow.
So we want to have an atmosphere in there of building trust. I want him to trust me.
I said something about, you take too many pills, you can't watch Caden or something. I said, you know, and
he has, in his mind, I think, formed a story that's believable. And so what I have to do, I have to find the weakness to get to the truth.
So your concern for Caden is mainly centered on when Michelle is the primary caregiver at that point. Okay.
The way I do that is through his relationship with Caden.
What that confrontation was about last weekend, it wasn't about you wanting to hurt Michelle. It was about your love for Caden. And it was about protecting Caden.
Right, because he wasn't being taken care of.
Exactly.
I see him reach up to his face, and then he takes his glasses off. And he goes into what we call surrender. And when he took those glasses off, I went, holy cow, here it comes.
So I want you to be honest with me and tell me what happened.
I grabbed her and I broke her neck.
Look at me.
I'm sorry. You gave me the death penalty, that's fine. I deserve it. I deserve it with you, buddy. You know, we're arguing. She takes a swing at me. I push her. And then I grab her. And then I fall on top of her and crush her windpipe. Okay,
So, like, how long were you on top of it?
Like at least like a minute and a half or two.
Mark brought Kayden to his parents' home in Odessa. Then he drove all the way back to Houston to deal with Michelle's body.
I just got a big crate thing that we had that we moved a lot of stuff in, and she actually fit in it. Drug it down the stairs and shoved it in the car.
Where did you get rid of her?
She's in Midland.
Okay. Do you know where? Would you be willing to take us there?
Yes.
Later, with Mark's help, Houston investigators locate Michelle's remains.
And here we are.
8 days after vanishing, Michelle Warner has been found. Detective Waters makes the call to Michelle's family.
Even though in my heart I already knew, hearing those words makes all the difference in the world. In you knowing now, this is final. This is it. I won't ever see her again.
When I received the news, I felt empty and kind of robbed of a mom. All I could really do was lay there and cry.
In May 2014, Mark Castellanos stands trial for the murder of Michelle Warner.
The defense is that this was a crime of passion, which would mitigate the murder charge.
But the prosecution proves that the killing was not a crime of passion. Mark had lied about many things, including Michelle's drug use. She was clean at the time of her death. The jury decides that the killing was intentional. It takes just 4 hours to find Mark Castellano guilty of murder. But the family are disappointed with his sentence. 27 years in prison.
I didn't expect him to get a simple 20-something year sentence and a possibility to parole out in half.
And when the judge read the sentence, Mark Castellano looked at the jury and mouthed the words, "Thank you."
I did that for you. Yo, what's up?
I will never forgive him for what he's done to her family, because he took an intricate part of our family unit. Every holiday that we sit down to a meal, or Christmas when we sit down to open gifts, there is an empty seat where Michelle will never be again.
It's something that you will never forget. And you'll never be okay with it. You just learn how to live with it.
Haley is doing her best to fill her mother's shoes in being there for Kayden.
Kayden and I have a really amazing relationship now that he doesn't have a mom and he doesn't really have a dad. I have really have been parenting him more. He really is this great little man, and he's so sweet, and he's just a really good kid. I miss my mom a lot. When I was next to her, I just felt like the coolest person in the world, because I was just so proud to have her as my mom, because she was just so amazing.
As part of this timeline, we seek video surveillance from homes or businesses that have cameras which capture vehicular activity on roadways.
It's an ongoing mystery that has gripped the nation.
Police in Connecticut are investigating the disappearance of a mother of 5 children.
Jennifer is the focus of this story.
Whatever happened to Jennifer happened inside that house.
In this special, we join authorities scrambling to find Jennifer Farber-Dulos.
This is incredible police work.
Over 400 pages of affidavits and search warrants.
The trail of evidence reveals dark secrets.
There were problems lurking underneath.
He wanted her to stay with him, whether he had one affair, 80 affairs.
Before the case is solved, a stunning twist.
I'm watching the news and they're performing CPR in his driveway.
The victim here is Jennifer, who is still missing. Say is, Jennifer, we love you and we are doing everything we can to bring you home.
Tucked in the woods of a very beautiful part of central Connecticut sits the Windsor Rod and Gun Club, a 25-acre spread for the very rich.
So at this Rod and Gun Club, two club members, they're out hunting together and they come across this man-made hole in the ground.
Somebody had tried to cover this up by putting barbecue grates and a blue tarp over top. It was 6 feet long, and inside were 2 bags of lime. And you know what lime is used for, right? It's to cover up a decaying body.
Here's the thing, you know, you really don't see shallow graves in a place like that. So these hunters just go about their merry way. But they have no idea what they've just been caught up in.
So on May 24th, 2019, at approximately 11:30 in the morning, Lauren Alameda, a nanny for Jennifer Dulos' 5 children, arrives at Jennifer Dulos' home located at 69 Wells Lane.
Right away, something just feels off in this multi-million-dollar home.
Jennifer's Suburban is missing from the garage, and the Range Rover was in the garage. And Jennifer had mentioned that she would be taking the Range Rover to New York City on that morning for her doctor's appointments. After taking the kids to school in the morning,
Jennifer is not home, but certain odd details worry Lauren.
She finds Jennifer's pocketbook. So she begins to wonder, why is her pocketbook here and she's not here?
At noon, Lauren picks Jennifer's kids up from their half day of school.
Jennifer had dropped the kids off at school at 8 a.m. That's her normal routine. And right as the kids were finishing up eating lunch, Lauren texted Jennifer several times. I'm Carrie Luft, and I'm a close friend of Jennifer's. On May 24th, that afternoon, there were a bunch of texts going around between Jennifer's babysitter and those of us who were close friends, and none of us had heard from her. Jennifer is the most reliable person I have ever known. It was so uncharacteristic for Jennifer not to pick up her phone or to, in any sort of timely fashion, respond to texts and calls that was a huge alarm.
That evening, Lauren reports Jennifer missing with the New Canaan Police Department.
Officers begin a thorough search of Jennifer's home, and they start looking for her 2017 black Suburban. We're talking about a mother with 5 children in one of the richest towns in the United States. You don't just up and vanish like this, especially when you have such a picture-perfect life.
Jennifer Farber is born in New York on September 27, 1968, to Gloria and Hilliard Farber.
Jennifer grew up in Brooklyn Heights. Her dad was the youngest vice president of Chase Manhattan Bank. He went on to found his own company. Jennifer's mom went on to get a doctorate in early childhood education. So she had some pretty smart and amazing parents and a very loving sister. Jennifer's upbringing was comfortable, but Jennifer has always been a very real and very accessible person. She was lovely, soft-spoken, smart, funny, really soulful brown eyes, a gorgeous smile, just radiant and incredible and inviting. She went to Brown for undergrad. She was a competitive squash player, and then right after graduating from Brown, ended up going to a writing program at New York University.
Then in 2003, a chance encounter changes Jennifer Farber's life. At the Aspen, Colorado airport, of all places, she runs into an old classmate, a Greek-American man named Fotis Doulos.
Jennifer and Fotis both went to Brown. He was a year ahead of her. They were friendly acquaintances.
Fotis had an attractive personality. He was kind, he was worldly. He came to the United States as an immigrant. He's from Greece. He didn't come from money. He dressed well, he was good looking. He had this sort of way about him that made you want to hang out with him.
Fotis had done quite well since graduating from Brown. He'd built up quite a lucrative career as a financial consultant.
They decided that they'd get together when they were both back in New York City. And she was thrilled to have, gotten back in touch with this former acquaintance who was interested in the same things that she was interested in, namely to find a loving relationship and to raise a family.
In August 2004, they throw an opulent wedding in Manhattan, then start growing their family, eventually having 5 children.
She was an incredibly devoted mom, and the grandparents were very involved in the kids' lives.
Fotis and Jennifer moved from New York City to Farmington, Connecticut, and it's there that Fotis begins to build up a real estate development business.
Fotis's construction group was called the Ford Group. Fotis designed a home for the family at Fort Jefferson Crossing. Just a beautiful, beautiful home, beautiful yard. It was postcard perfect if you took a step back and looked at it from afar.
In over a dozen years together, they had their ups and downs, right? All couples do. But like a lot of couples, they eventually decide to split.
Jennifer filed for divorce, rented a house in New Canaan, and had sole physical custody of the children.
After that, Jennifer tried to figure out a way to make this work for their kids and really adjust to the new normal.
But now, less than 2 years into the separation, Jennifer seems to have vanished, and New Canaan police are meticulously searching her home.
And in conducting that search, police entered the garage, and they found a scene that was very troubling.
The New Canaan police see dark stains on the back fender and the side of a Range Rover that is parked there, also on a nearby garbage can.
And of course, they are wondering, could this be blood? Is it possible that someone had broken in there and taken Jennifer? In case someone had been there, they swab everywhere, house, garage, looking for DNA.
Then, about 12 hours after she was last seen, a breakthrough. Jennifer's missing SUV.
They found it. It was in Waveney Park, 3 miles from her home. And as they approached the car, all they can think of is she inside?
Verizon knows how to build unlimited right. You start with the network J.D. Power is named the most awarded for network quality 25 times in a row. Then give people more plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need.
Verizon Unlimited plan is so reasonable, they can stay on for the rest of their lives.
gifts. Include the best in entertainment and offer it all starting at $35. Plus $700 off our best phones when you switch. Because everyone deserves the best. This is Unlimited Built Right. Only on Verizon.
My name is Jerry. I've been a Pateco member for about 15 years. They give me the best advice without looking for personal gain.
My name is Angela. I'm currently refinancing my car with Pateco. I'm also using their checking and savings.
My name is Aki. If I think about it, over the course of 22 years, I've probably saved thousands of dollars in fees.
My name is Elmer. Pateco is part of my financial strategy. It's just easy.
Yo, bro, shark. I know, I love sharking, man. No, bro, shark, move!
Monster Jam fans, it's a night loaded with world record attempts. It all happens on Shark Week's Eve. Diesel Brothers presents Monster Jam, Saturday at 8.
When investigators locate Jennifer Farber-Dulos' SUV 3 miles from her home, they wonder if they've also found the missing mom or her body.
New Canaan officers quickly realized there is no sign of Jennifer in the car or anywhere near the Suburban.
So they quickly fanned out with search teams and canine units. And by sundown, they still hadn't found Jennifer or any evidence of her.
Investigators notify Jennifer's estranged husband, Fotis, who lives 70 miles away in Farmington.
They sent the Farmington police to his house at 8 o'clock that night to let him know that his wife was missing.
Fotis tells them that he hasn't seen or spoken to Jennifer or the kids at all that day, but he doesn't seem very concerned about Jennifer, the fact that she's missing. And that seems weird to the police.
Fotis had supervised visitations only with the children. Well, our biggest priority right off the bat was to make sure that the kids were safe and secure. They stayed with their grandmother in New York City.
New Canaan police asked Fotis to come down to the station to be officially interviewed, and Fotis says he'll come.
The next morning, as the search for Jennifer continues, the media picks up on the story of the mom who vanished from a storybook town.
The search for a missing mother of 5 ramping up in a tight-knit Connecticut community.
I don't know what to say. I mean, the thought of these little children, it's heartbreaking.
That afternoon, Fotis Dulos follows through on his promise to come to the New Canaan police station, his attorney in tow.
At which point, Fotis' lawyer told the police that he wasn't going to be answering any questions.
Let's not forget, this is the missing mother of his 5 kids.
And although Fotis isn't really very cooperative with them, they don't have anything to hold him on, so they let him go home.
Due to the urgency of the case, police are able to seize his phone, but they cannot process its data until a warrant is in place. So they turn their attention back to Jennifer.
Right away, investigators start looking at her credit card, bank account, and her cell phone. They want to see if there's any activity. And you know what? There's been 0 activity in any of those.
Certain that something terrible has happened and suspecting Fotis is involved, Jennifer's mother works to protect the children.
Jennifer's mother filed an emergency action in probate court seeking temporary custody of the children, which was granted. He could not have any contact with his kids.
The story continues to capture national attention.
Police in Connecticut are investigating the disappearance of a mother of 5 children. Cops say 50-year-old Jennifer Dulos went missing after dropping her kids off at school in New Canaan.
There was an incredible outpouring of concern and support. There were flyers and community efforts to search the parks, concern on behalf of the kids, and obviously for Jennifer herself was just a massive wave.
One of the first big breaks in this case came when they got this security video from a neighbor's house. And that video spotted Jennifer coming home from dropping those kids off at school at 8:05 a.m. And they see nothing else, no movement of any vehicle until 10:25 a.m. when they see that vehicle backing out and driving off towards Waveney Park. They know whatever happened to Jennifer happened inside that house in that 2 hour and 20-minute window.
The search warrant for Fotis's phone finally comes through.
They start tracking the movement of the phone. It was stationary at his residence in Farmington, Connecticut, the morning she went missing. And then the phone was traveling to 80 Mountain Spring Road, which was a house that Fotis's company was doing some work on in Farmington. And then in the evening around 7 o'clock, shortly thereafter, the phone was on Albany Street in Hartford, Connecticut, moving along that street.
The records show the phone stopped many times along that stretch of road. But why? Detectives hope the children's babysitter, Lauren, can offer insider information that might help.
Lauren tells the police that even when they were together as a couple, Fotis was distant, but he was also angry.
During their 13 years of marriage, it was not all marital bliss. In fact, there were many problems along the way.
They seemed to be living the dream life, if you will, but apparently there were problems lurking underneath.
Over the years, the Douloses began to grow apart. They began to fight more and more, and Fotis spent a lot of time away from the house. Jennifer really felt that things were much better when Fotis was not at home.
For years, she had been frightened of Fotis's temper, and she was subjected to incredible strain on a daily basis.
Jennifer ended up a depressed shell of a person who people described as very lovely, but very sad.
Eventually, she was concerned for her own physical safety and for the well-being of her children. Fotis had acquired a gun. That, to her, was a huge red flag. And she decided that she needed to come up with a safe plan for her and her children.
By June 2017, the marriage of 13 years hits its breaking point.
Jennifer discovers that Fotis is having an affair with a woman named Michelle Troconis.
My understanding is that they met in Miami. Fotis would travel sometimes to look for investors, but also to water ski. And my understanding is she was working down in Miami and they met down there.
When Jennifer confronted Fotis about the affair, what does he do? And this shows you his character. He had the nerve to say to her, I'm moving Michelle and her daughter into the home at 4 Jefferson Place in Farmington.
So that they can all live together. Jennifer, the kids, Michelle, her daughter, and Fotis, all one big happy family. It's preposterous. Jennifer refuses.
Fotis came home. His family was gone. The kids were gone. His wife was gone. A lot of their stuff had been moved out.
Jennifer rented a house in New Canaan. This was fleeing. She was fleeing an emotionally abusive relationship. She was frightened, and I think rightly so.
Fotis expected Jennifer to stay with him, whether he had 1 affair, 2 affairs, 80 affairs. He was pissed that she left him.
And as soon as Jennifer was out, Fotis moved Michelle right into the home. And yet it still didn't change things. It didn't change how Fotis was towards Jennifer. He was still angry. And it just seems like it was classic abuser, right? Even though you've got your own life, you still want to control that other person. Lauren said right out of the gate to the police, and I quote, she said, something happened and Fotis was most likely involved.
He had something to do with it. Why else would she be missing?
Investigators look more closely into the lead from Fotis's phone. What was he doing on Hartford's Albany Avenue on the night in question?
Investigators request any traffic surveillance video footage for that date and time frame. And they begin to go through that footage. and they find a black Ford Raptor pickup truck that is registered to Fotis Dulos' company on Albany Street at various points. The video surveillance shows a person resembling the description of Fotis driving, and the passenger resembling Michelle Troconis. It shows them making stops along Albany Street, discarding garbage bags in trash cans.
In all, they stopped at 30 different locations in a 4-mile stretch of Albany Avenue. And they discarded trash all the way along.
So the million-dollar question is, what, or should I say who, is inside those garbage bags?
Buy a select 2020 Volkswagen today. And for the next 6 years, the time it takes a child to learn to walk, read, and start school, you won't have paid a single cent in interest. 6 years of interest-free payments. Click, call, or come by your Volkswagen dealer today and get 0% APR financing for 72 months on select 2019 and 2020 models.
My name is Jerry. I've been a Pateco member for about 15 years. They give me the best advice without looking for personal gain.
My name is Angela. I'm currently refinancing my car with Patelka. I'm also using their checking and savings.
My name is Aki. If I think about it, over the course of 22 years, I've probably saved thousands of dollars in fees.
My name is Elmer. Patelco is part of my financial strategy. It's just easy.
It's really the hands-on.
Train to be a medical assistant at Carrington College.
We do that real-life practice and try to make it as close as we can to the real clinical setting.
I'm a hands-on person. I like to see it, do it, and implement it so I can perfect it the way it was taught to me.
They're going to do urinalysis, blood draws, EKGs.
When I first started out, I was really scared. My confidence has gotten so much better where it just comes so natural.
Learn more at carrington.edu/train4MA.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only
I'm not just any gorilla. You'll see.
I'm stepping out. We're in this together, kid. We're family. Strong.
Ivan, what are you doing? I'm gonna fix the show.
It's the wild. It's how Ivan wants things to be.
Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith.
Disney's The One and Only Ivan. Rated PG. Streaming soon. Exclusively on Disney+.
So until this point, people were willing to put themselves in danger because of the deliciousness of a s'more.
Why would I want to start a fire? It's very dangerous. Skip the fire, get the shake. Toasted s'more shake.
Protect your pet with the #1 name in flea and tick protection, Frontline Plus, trusted by vets for nearly 20 years.
Verizon knows how to build unlimited right. Start with America's most awarded network. Give people more plans to mix and match at a price built for everyone. Switch now and get a Verizon Stream TV on us to watch shows and movies in 4K. This is unlimited built right.
New CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk, a vegan foundation formulated without formaldehydes, phthalates, parabens, sulfates, and talc, giving me a healthy, natural look that says, this is me. Clean Fresh Skin Milk from Easy Breezy Beautiful CoverGirl.
Connecticut investigators search for trash bags, apparently dumped by Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis, following the disappearance of Fotis' estranged wife, Jennifer.
Luckily enough, they locate some of those garbage bags. Now they have them, and they're bringing them back to the lab to see what forensics tells them.
Inside those trash bags, they find some of Jennifer's clothing items, zip ties, duct tape, and they find cleaning materials and a sponge and a mop. All those things with what appear to be blood stains.
And where the bags were found, there was a label from the very unique bicycle, that it's not a Huffy or a basic bike you could just buy in Walmart, that it's a very unique bicycle.
They have no idea what the bicycle logo is all about, but it's weird, right? So they take it and they put it into evidence.
This is like an Agatha Christie novel. All these little bits of evidence, a medallion from a French-made bicycle, garbage bags. What does all of this have to do with the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos?
With circumstantial evidence building and Fotis not cooperating, police haul Michelle Troconis in and question her about the morning Jennifer vanished.
Michelle said that she was home with Fotis in the morning. They woke up, they were intimate in the shower. Later, she saw that Fotis was at home meeting with Fotis's friend and attorney Kent Mahoney.
After 9 a.m., Michelle says she was running errands and did not see Fotis for the remainder of the morning.
Michelle, she tells police that afternoon Fotis phoned her about 2 p.m. and asked her to come help him clean a property he owned at 80 Mountain Spring Road in Farmington. I would have said, clean it your damn self.
Michelle claims that she and Fotis were cleaning at that property until about 6:30 at night. And then she says that Fotis asked if she wanted to go to Starbucks in West Hartford.
Michelle tells police, look, he didn't stop at the Starbucks. He drove right past it. She says he starts stopping at all these garbage bins.
Michelle claims she doesn't know what was in the bags, but she confirms it was them on the surveillance footage.
She also confirms that the vehicle seen on surveillance is in fact a Ford Raptor that's registered to Fotis's company. It's often driven by one of his employees, a man by the name of Pavel Gumieni.
Still with no hard evidence or admissions, investigators seek more details by interviewing Pavel Gumieni.
Pavel had a late model Toyota Tacoma that wasn't the most reliable of vehicles, and it had a lot of miles on it. And so at the beginning of the work week, he would park the car at Fotis's office and take the company Ford Raptor, which is basically a very souped-up Ford and very reliable and new.
Pavel says the day before Jennifer's disappearance, he drove his red Tacoma truck and parked it outside Fotis's home office at 4 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington. He then was using the company truck, the Ford Raptor. The next day, the next afternoon, he wants his truck back, but it isn't where he left it.
Gumieni eventually finds his truck and Fotis and Michelle at the 80 Mountain Spring Road home.
Their explanation for being at the house was that Michelle Troconis was helping Fotis clean the house. He thought that was odd.
Fotis is the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. So you tell me if you think he cleans his own properties. And then what is he doing taking a vehicle belonging to one of his employees when he's got access to any number of company cars plus his own fancy cars?
Gumieni doesn't even know anybody's missing at this point. And still, his weird radar's going up. Fotis is doing all this wacky stuff, and he's wondering why.
Fotis, he's telling Gumieni that he needs to replace the seats.
There were civil allegations that he had Pavel remove seats in that vehicle and replace them with seats from a broken-down Porsche that Fotis had.
Pavel Gumieni became suspicious. He told the police that he had kept those seats and he had turned those seats over to the police.
This could be a huge coup in the case. Police immediately send these seats out for forensic testing. They figure if Fotis was so insistent that those seats be replaced, there must be something there.
Recalling the curious bike logo they found in the trash Fotis dumped, investigators asked Gumieni about Fotis's bikes.
Pavel had remembered working on a very unique bicycle, I think a 10-speed type bicycle that had ram horn type handlebars that he had fixed for Fotis.
And it's the exact bike that would have one of those fancy French Mercier medallions on it. You know, the type that was found inside the garbage bags. So now the puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place. And everything is pointing right back at Fotis Dulos.
Authorities turn back to the surveillance footage received from Jennifer's neighbors, now looking for a red Tacoma and a vintage bicycle.
They see the truck, and then they see a person riding that bike near Waveney Park, a dark figure on that same unique French bicycle, riding towards where Jennifer Dulos was residing at the time. He's on surveillance camera footage.
So the question becomes, was that Fotis on that bicycle going to abduct Jennifer Dulos?
I have the power to lower my blood sugar and A1C.
Because I can still make my own insulin, and Trulicity activates my body to release it, like it's supposed to. Once weekly Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It's not insulin. It starts acting from the first dose, and it lowers risk of heart attack, stroke, or death in people with known heart disease or multiple risk factors.
Trulicity isn't for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it, you or your family have medullary thyroid cancer, or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, belly pain, and decreased appetite, which lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. We're committed to helping ensure Trulicity is available and affordable. Learn more at Trulicity.com.
New CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk, a vegan foundation formulated without formaldehydes, phthalates, parabens, sulfates, and talc, giving me a healthy, natural look that says, this is me. Clean Fresh Skin Milk from Easy Breezy Beautiful CoverGirl.
Protect your pet with the #1 name in flea and tick protection, Frontline Plus, trusted by vets for nearly 20 years.
I use ice cream as kind of for medicinal purposes, you know.
This would be so good for dinner.
Very crispy.
Spicy. Delicious.
A little tang.
Crunch.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Pots are everything.
When it comes to parenting, you're a pro. You know reflexes are key. You know your kid doesn't step around puddles. And wet shoes, not cool. You know what else isn't cool? Those cheap leaky diapers. Because with Luvs, you get the pro-level leak protection you're looking for. Luvs. Parent like a pro.
For 6 weeks, Fotis Dulos has remained silent.
The estranged husband of missing Connecticut mom, Jennifer Dulos, is now talking.
I think that the people that do not know me, they probably look at me as a monster.
With Fotis continuing to deny involvement, Connecticut investigators confront Michelle Troconis with their new evidence.
As she begins to open up to the police, they start wondering if it's possible that she may have been manipulated by Fotis.
She's hearing one side. She's hearing from a wealthy, good-looking, Ivy League, smart guy that this woman he was married to was the Till of the Hunt. And depending on her psyche, could be swept into this whole story plot of how to help her wonderful boyfriend live the life he should have with her.
But Michelle eventually reveals that Fotis once told her about Jennifer, sometimes I hope she disappears. Well, I guess he got his wish.
Then, she presents a shocking new lead. She now says she did not see Fotis early that morning. She only saw Kent at the home office, and Fotis's phone was there.
She also remembered that while she was sitting in the office with Kent, the cell phone actually rang.
Michelle Troconis, in her interview with the police, indicated that Mahani told her to answer the call.
The call was from one of Fotis's friends.
It seems like he wanted to make it look as if he had taken a call at the Farmington residence, 70 miles away from where Jennifer disappeared from.
This window of time that Michelle describes, where she didn't see Fotis at the home, and then she takes this phone call on his cell phone in the home, this is the exact window of time where police believe that Jennifer was attacked and abducted, 8:05 to 10:25 a.m.
By now, police have corroborated Michelle's alibi during that key time frame. Detectives believe Michelle knows more, but the interview ends without a confession.
As investigators continue to dig into Fotis's financial records and talk to Jennifer's family, they start to see that Fotis's company, the Four Group, was actually deeply, deeply in debt.
He allegedly borrowed money from Jennifer's father, Hilliard Farber, about $2.5 million worth. Well, after Hilliard Farber died, Fotis stopped paying on that loan, and Jennifer's mother, Gloria, actually filed a civil suit to collect the balance. When all the loans that Fotis had were added up, he was in a $7 million hole.
And maybe for Fotis, that seemed just too deep a hole to climb out of. Except for one thing.
The Doulos children have a $2 million trust fund set up by Jennifer's parents.
If Jennifer were out of the picture, Fotis probably assumed that he would get sole custody of the kids, along with their lucrative trust fund. Well, that is a motive right there.
If that was his plan. He's out there trying to say how much he loves his kids and it's all about the kids, but yet he was going to take away their money.
3 months into the case, a man comes forward to say he might have new information about Jennifer's disappearance.
Remember that shallow grave? The grave that was found at that fancy gun club, the Windsor Rod and Gun Club? Well, this guy tells police that he and a fellow member had stumbled upon it. And it was just a week before Jennifer had disappeared. The hunter says he later overheard another member talking about Jennifer going missing, and that a former member had some connection to her disappearance. Kent Mawhinney, Fotis's lawyer.
Police subsequently went out and took a look at that hole in the ground.
Despite a thorough search, investigators find no evidence that Jennifer was ever there. Still, they wonder if at one point this was supposed to be her grave, and if Kent Mawhinney is involved in some way.
Now remember, Mawhinney is also the guy who was in Fotis's home office when that mysterious phone call came into Fotis's abandoned cell phone. Mawhinney is the one who urged Michelle to answer that call.
Kent Mawhinney, he knew that gun club, and maybe even more important, his cell phone data put him there before the hole was discovered. Could this lawyer have actually helped his client, Fotis Doulos, and prepared a gravesite for him? I mean, this is crazy.
When questioned, Mawhinney denies any knowledge or involvement. Although months pass with no word from Jennifer, her loved ones hold out hope.
All I want to say is, Jennifer, we love you, and we are doing everything we can to bring you home. Your kids miss you. We all miss you.
When the crime lab delivers forensic results, the family's hopes are dashed. The blood found in Jennifer's garage, on her vehicle, on the seats of the Tacoma truck Fotis used, and on the materials dumped in Hartford, is Jennifer's.
This is a heartbreaking turn. This mother, who did everything possible to love and protect her children, is probably never coming home. The family rallies around the children.
Even though obviously there is so much that is stressful and disturbing and unfathomable, the focus really just has to be the kids and making sure that they're okay.
Jennifer's family want her so they can bury her and they can begin the process of grieving this tremendous, tremendous loss. But there's no body.
Despite the lack of a body, on January 7th, 2020, Connecticut police make simultaneous arrests.
Fotis Dulos, who is charged with murder, felony murder, and kidnapping, with the court-set bond of $6 million.
Michelle Troconis and attorney Kent Mulweeney arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder.
The family was so relieved that Fotis was finally arrested on a charge serious enough that he might actually now have to reveal where Jennifer was. But nobody saw what was coming next.
Yo, bro, shark. I know, I love sharking, man. No, bro, shark, move!
Monster Jam fans, it's a night loaded with world record attempts. It all happens on Shark Week's Eve. Diesel Brothers presents Monster Jam, Saturday at 8.